Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
So what we are going to look into is, we are going to look into the introduction of the compensation and then various compensation components, then compensation eligibility rules, compensation grades and grade profiles, compensation plans, and at last, the compensation package. Introduction to compensation. The compensation structure in Workday is comprised of grades and plans which are grouped together in a container called the compensation package. What you can say is compensation package is a container in which everything will be going to put up, like for example compensation grades, compensation grade profiles, compensation plans, or compensation eligibility rules. Everything we are going to put up in compensation package. So usually there will be only one compensation package for an organization. They will have different salary plans, they can have different allowances plans, but usually what Workday recommends is to have a single compensation package. What Workday recommends is single compensation. Again, I am repeating, what Workday recommends is to have single compensation package. You can define multiple compensation grades, grade profiles under them. We can define many compensation plans in them. We can define compensation eligibility rules based on the conditions that has been put by the client requirements. So in our upcoming class, we are going to discuss each and every topic in detail. We are going to create compensation grades, grade profiles, and everything. So this is just a kind of introduction. So what do you mean by compensation grade? For example, I am not going by the definition because definition you can see in the screen itself. Compensation grade, for example, what they will say is we want vice president and above to be paid on this salary and managers and below should be paid at this salary. So here we are defining in a compensation grade. What we are doing is we are defining is based on the grades. So some kind of differentiation or some kind of pay range difference that has been put on, that is going to be under the compensation grade. What do you mean by compensation grade profile? For example, we have created the compensation grade 1 is executive. Executive will include all the members that are vice president and above. They are known as executive. Now the non-executive will include manager and below. We have created two compensation grades for our client. Now they have operations in multiple countries. For example, in USA, UK, India, Europe. So what they will say is how definitely the pay scale will be different based on the country. But the grades are executive and non-executive only for that particular country. So what they will do is, further under the compensation grade, they will create localization. That means the compensation grade profiles based on the localization. That means the country, the specific country. So compensation grade is a broader picture where you will have the grade-wise division, and then under compensation grade, you are going to have grade profiles. That means you are going with the localization thing based on the country. Am I clear with these two? Just a broader view, just a simple. We can say definitions of compensation grade and grade profiles. Is it clear? the basic concept of compensation grade and grade profiles. Now coming to the compensation plans. So definitely, whenever we are working in an organization, we are receiving a salary. Some are salaried employees, some are hourly employees. Some are definitely, we are getting some internet allowances, some are getting car allowances. So we can define various compensation plans as well. And that where we are going to define under compensation plan, we are going to make different compensation plans based on the requirement. Whether they want the salaried, how they want to pay the salary, to whom, to which employees they want to pay the salary. Basically, now what is the hourly rate that they want to pay? Alliances, what kind of internet allowances they want to pay or car allowances they want to pay, to whom they want to pay. We are going to define it under the conditions. We are going to make different eligibility rules for the same and then conditions. Now, compensation package is nothing. We are simply creating it and then we are clubbing each and everything that we have made. Whether it's grades, grade profiles, compensation profile. So compensation package is going to group together everything. Grade profile and plans, whatever we make. So now compensation eligibility rules. The word itself defines. Here we are going to define the eligibility. Means, whosoever is eligible for the compensation grade or compensation grade profiles compensation plans. For example, I only want to pay the salary to my corporation employees. None other than corporation employees should get the salary. So I will define the eligibility based on the such rule that the salary should be given only to the Ankita Corporation organization. So we are going to create the compensation eligibility rules as well. So eligibility means how you are going to pay the employees, the different rules that you want to pay. Now here comes the pictorial picture of the same compensation package to whom you are going to pay it. It will definitely have eligibility rules. Then grades, then plans, and then definitely if you are seeing anything you are creating. Whether you are creating compensation, whether you are hiring the employee, at the end of the day, the employee should get paid. So how the employee will get paid? By the compensation elements. We are going to link the compensation elements to the payroll. And it's a different story. But yes, just remember how you are going to pay. The compensation to the employees is, I will show you, but that is not covered in this course. But yes, I will show you where you are linking the compensation elements to payroll. At the end, I will show you once we are done with the compensation. It's just for your information. It can be asked to you like how the compensation is linked to payroll via which component. So your answer should be compensation elements. This compensation element is something that is made by compensation folks. That is not something that we are going to create it, but yes, I will show you how you create it and how you are going to link it to payroll. It's simple task only. But yes, I will show you. Now for compensation package, we are creating the eligibility rules. For salary, we are for compensation plan salary, hourly allowance, we are creating the rules. Can anyone tell me how we are going to define the eligibility for compensation grades? Based on the title like VP and above. No, where we are going to define the eligibility for the compensation grades. Based on the hierarchical hierarchy. No, you are near to it, but where? Remember yesterday what we have discussed. Yesterday in job profile, there was a component called compensation grades. So Workday always recommend to define. Never create eligibility rules for compensation grades until and unless customer has requested for it. Always compensation grades. Eligibility should be linked to the job profile. Remember, when we are creating the job profile, we have two columns. 1. I told you that whenever you are creating the job profiles, always remember to attach your management level and compensation grade to your job profile. Without these two, your job profile will never be complete. So always remember, whenever you are going to create job profile, you are going to attach the compensation grade and management level. But you will say that we will create the job profile first and then we are going to create the compensation. So there is always a facility to edit your job profile. Go ahead once you have created your compensation grades. Once you are done with your compensation structure, go back and edit your job profile and update your compensation grades that you have created. Is it? So always remember, you are going to create. This can be, we can say that they can mold you in this question. The interviewer can mold you in the question. Suppose I want to create an eligibility rule for compensation grades, blah blah blah. They will tell you a story or a small case story type. Your quick answer should be, we are not going to create an eligibility rule for compensation grade. Compensation grades are always attached to the job profile. So you are always going to create the eligibility rule for compensation plans and compensation packages, not for grades. So this is the introduction for the compensation. So whenever you are going to create the compensation structure, first of all, you have to create the eligibility rules. You have to determine to whom you are going to pay the compensation or which group of employers are eligible for the compensation. Then, once you have created the compensation eligibility rule, just note it down somewhere. Because when, in your next step, you are going to create the compensation plan and compensation grade, you are going to attach that eligibility rules to your plans and grades as per your requirements. Am I clear with this? Everyone with me? Guys, be responsive. Don't listen it like a story. I'm telling you, it's not going to be beneficial for you. If you are here to learn something new, be responsive. I want this to be a two-way session, not a one-way session. I will speak and go no. So first you are going to create the compensation eligibility rules, and then further you are going to create the compensation plan and compensation grades. Now eligibility rules. A compensation eligibility rule determines an employee's eligibility for each compensation component. Eligibility can be based on or any combination of organization job profiles, location, positions, or many other available fields. For example, I'm going to create an eligibility rule. What my client has told it. I want my compensation package to be paid. Management level is director and above an employee should belong to Canada. First of all, give the description. So this is the page how your eligibility rule will look like. We will go field by field. So first of all, I'm going to give the description Ankita. Compensation eligibility. Now, as a good consultant, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not about Workday or it's not only about Workday. It's in any year. Whenever you are asked to give a comment, give a comment. Means, just make it as a habit, what thing you have done. For example, I will get created a new eligibility rule. Now, so I will give this rule and what my habit is. I used to put the date, so when I have created it, I used to put it in. Further in future, whenever I will come and edit something, for example, tomorrow I'm going to edit or I'm going to add any rule conditions here. So what I will do is I will put the date. For example, tomorrow I'm going to do, I will put the date and added a new rule to the eligibility. Or added new condition to the eligibility. I will mention it what I have added it so that in future, if anyone, because you're not the only consultant that is working on this tenant, further someone else will take your place or someone else is going to work in different shift within your team itself. So they should know that, yes, Ankita has done this change on this particular date and what she has added. I have mentioned it, so it's a sign of good consultant. Always remember to add the comment part with the date that you have made the changes. Now category. Where you are going to use this category. So I'm going to use it in the compensation eligibility rules. Already I'm creating the compensation eligibility rules, so no need to mention it. Now I'm not going to copy condition from any rule. There is no existing rule that I'm going to copy the condition. I'm going to make my own eligibility rule. Now this is the rule conditions. This is the page of the rule that looks like old page that you are looking at my screen. Create compensation eligibility rule. Now the table that you are looking at the bottom. Rule condition. Rule condition means what all the conditions you wanted to put for this particular eligibility rule. In order so that it should get processed or it should get included in my particular hiring or anything. Compensation package or anything. Any condition that is going to be used. So what? All the conditions you want to add. For example, I want my compensation to be paid to the Ankita Corporation. So here you can see that first column is A&D or. A&D means whenever you are adding any conditions here. See if I'm adding any condition here. If you are used. If this rule is used anywhere. If I'm adding 3 conditions with A&D as the condition rules. If I'm using and that means all these 3 conditions should satisfy. If any one of these fails, then my rule won't be eligible or my rule won't be picked up. So if I'm adding AND in my conditions, then that means all these 3 should satisfy. Then only my rules will get picked up for that particular employee. And if I'm adding OR, I can select the OR from here. That means if there are 2 AND you can see here, 2 AND and 1 OR. That means either these 2 or this condition. Either these 2 in coordination. These 2. 1 and third should be there or this second one should be there. Means or. So hope I'm clear with this first column. Is it clear to everyone? Ankita, I have just one drawn down. Yes. So in this you are telling that you can use 2 and D, 1 or. If there are multiple ORs, then how will you be able to like your either of the condition that's satisfied. If I'm going to have multiple ORs, either this, for example, I'm going to select as country as, here I'm going to select or country as, for example, country as USA. What client will come up and say that either the country should be USSA or it can be Canada. Any both of them. So what I will do is, or I will put 2 conditions. Either the employee belongs to Canada or it belongs to USA. It should get picked up. So you are telling that if it is A and D, it should satisfy all the A and Ds. Yes, if it is or anyone or has to be satisfied anyone or. If there is any or condition, then any or will be satisfied. If here I would mention that country is USA, that means it's going to satisfy. If I have mentioned it and the employee belonged to USA and none of the conditions are satisfied, it's because I have an or condition for the country USA. So, Ankita, why we are putting two and D and or? No, I'm just telling you, it's an example. Two and D or will. Never we will have it, but yes, I'm just telling you as an example. Where will you enter the country, Ankita? I will tell you. It's all I was telling you about A and D and O's. Yes, that's what I was asking. So if you are doing or for countries, where would you have entered it? Or relations? Yes, I will tell you. I will go step by step, column by column. So this is the first column. N and or is A and D means if there is 2 A and D, 3 A and D, 4 A and D, all should get satisfied. And if there is or, then anyone or can get satisfied. The rule will get picked up. This is this A and D and or. If you are going for any type of condition making further, you are going further. We will be dealing with the business process as well. There also, we are going to create the conditions. There also A and D or R will do the same thing. If there are A and D means all the A and D conditions should get satisfied, or means either one of them gets satisfied, it's fine. I have one doubt. Sorry to interrupt. If suppose there are or in the star, but after or there are multiple A and Ds. Like I want to do, like you have a divide rule like giving two hands. Like it could be, means first condition should satisfy, then the other also. But either of the ways, is it possible to put it? No, or, and if there are A and D or and should get satisfied. Or and should get satisfied. I hope my question was clear. Yes. You are saying that there are multiple, two A and Ds are there. And you are saying that is there any way we can bifurcate it like, first only these two will get satisfied, then OR, and then we can put different A and D. Even if we are putting in the different rows as well, it will consider OR and it will check for OR or A and D. If OR and gets satisfied, it's fine. If it doesn't find any OR, and then automatically that rule won't get picked up. Means Workday doesn't have that functionality. Like it could be like a pie chart or not a pie chart, like a divider. Different compensation. In that case, create different compensation eligibility rules. I would suggest to create different eligibility rules. Why you are clubbing these many conditions in a single eligibility rules? If you want different eligibility rules for an allowance plan, for a salary plan, you can go ahead and create different eligibility rules. There is no restrictions in creating the eligibility rules. Why you want to like cumbersome this condition rules? So it's just for an FIA and all conditions should get satisfied, or only any of all conditions get satisfied. The rule will get picked up. Now is it possible to create sub-conditions? For example, add is there and inside add, can I create more conditions? Is it possible? One condition, one conditions. You are going to add it by row only. You can add different rows, but you cannot club one condition under one condition. Now what I'm going to do is here, under the source, external field or condition rule, what is the field that you want this rule to compare or pick up that topic? For example, I want country. I want this rule to be picked up only for the country USA. Employers that who belongs to the country USA. So here, under the source field or condition rule means what is the field that you want to compare, the value that you want the value to be compared. So here I'm going to pick up that country. So now, always remember, whenever you are creating compensation rules related to eligibility rules related to compensation, you are going to select the component that is relevant to compensation only. I'm not getting the proper field here. Location primary compensation. So here I can see that location primary compensation. So remember location, we are picking up the country. The country, that is, we are updating the location, the country, as the location for the employee. Always remember whenever you are creating compensation eligibility rules, because further in your Workday experience, you are going to create eligibility rules for various things in the business process as well, in payroll as well. You are going to create calculated fields in report also. You are going to create the conditions. So always remember, whenever you are creating eligibility rules for compensation, it should be related to the compensation business object. Look here, business object is compensation rule targetable. A compensation is attached or is used as a suffix for that particular source field. So location, primary compensation in bracket compensation is there. Similarly, if I'm going to select supervisory organization, don't go for only supervisory organization. You are not going for only supervisory organization. See organization compensation. Compensation suffix is there. If you hover over the related action for this particular primary object, you can see that the business object is compensation rule targetable. So I'm going to select only if I'm creating the compensation eligibility rules, I'm going to select the source field or external fields related to the compensation only. Now since I selected the external field, now relation operator. What the client has told me is the employee should belong to the USA country. So here I'm going to select any in the selection list. And under the comparison value, I'm going to give USA as the location. So this is how I have created one of my conditions. Location, primary compensation, any in the selection list, and then value specified. Comparison type is value specified in this filter. Comparison value is USA. Suppose my client will come up and say that employee can belong to either USA or Canada as well. So instead of adding duplicate fields of location, primary compensation, what I can do is I can add the country Canada as well here. Now also, it will pick up location primary compensation, any in the selection list. Because I have selected the relation operator as any in the selection list. Any in the selection list, any of the value, whether it's USA or Canada, whether employee belongs to USA or Canada, my compensation rule will get picked up for that particular employee. Is it clear to everyone how we are going to create or how we are going to add the conditions? I have a question out here. This is a very good example because you are an expert, you know it. But if we ask Workday rule conditions examples, can Workday at least guide us? This This should be your rule condition where your source, your relation operator, your compassion type should be like this. Workday will always tell you the same. But see, frankly speaking, you don't need Workday to approach for these kind of simple things. Means, creation of the rules of Workday is always responsive. There is. I told you at the start of the demonstration itself that there is a very good Workday community there. We can pitch in, we can ask questions. We can also reply to the questions queries from some other clients or some other consultants. But see, once you will work, for example, someone will come to me and say that I want to be picked up based on the city. So what I will do is I will try to search on my own basis. City of location primary. I will try to search. It's not you are going to approach because it's not new to you. So it will be a little bit difficult for you at the start. But yes, believe me, for these kind of things we never approach Workday. So it's simple only. Client will give you requirements. It should belong to USA, or example, this eligibility rules. This compensation we are going to pay for management level, from vice president till board of directors only. We are going to use. So can anyone guide me in this case? So I'm going to cancel all these rules. First of all, tell me what should be my condition. Is it an or what? My client has told me that the employee should belong to USA country and the employee should be either vice president or above. So now tell me how I'm going to add the second condition here, or an vice president. And because they have told that it should belong to USA and it should be vice president. Both the conditions should get satisfied. It should belong to USA, employees should belong to USA, and it should be vice president and above. So now what's going to be I selected and here it. Now what's going to be my external field? Job profile, management grade or management grade. It should be management level. Like you are working in a company. What's your level in the company? We are asking to the employee whether you are consultant, you are lead or you are manager. So it should be management level. I think tenant is slow today. So it should be management level. Now customer has told me one question. All the sources know whichever you're selecting for the conditions. It is all from the organization which we have already created. I didn't get you means. No, we are like selecting no for our own and condition from the source. Now, whichever like the local primary compensation, it is all from the thing which we have already created. So, in case of selecting the local primary organization, I should have already created this compensation as what organization earlier? Definitely. When you are going to define, that's why we are going step by step. First, we have created supervisory organization location country. You are going to create it from the basic. At last, then only you are going to hire the employer. Security you are going to set up at the end once all your components are set up. So we are going step by step only. We are proceeding step by step only. So before creating, that's why you are going to define the compensation. Whether you want to define it for your, we can say for your organization or not. I think the system got hinged or what? It will take some time to select the management means the source field. So just select the correct over the related action and just set it. Select the correct management. So I'm going to select this. Now any in the selection list. So am I going wrong? Am I doing correct? You said VP about it. You said VP about it. Yes. But it is above managers. I'm going to select a manager. Which one to select? Can anyone just quickly guide me? Management compensation. I want that word. We have that one. Always remember, whenever you are creating compensation eligibility rule, you should have this compensation. Don't go by other values. I'm telling you, whenever you are going to work someone or see here there are management level and above managers. Sometimes you will see that management level and above vice president. So are you going to select the one? No, we are going to select the correct source field, compensation. I want that compensation. Plus, sometimes it will happen that you can have two fields with the same name. Whenever you are working in a training tenant or any we can say development talent for your client. So just over all the related actions, just check for the business object. Field source should be Workday delivered. If it is Workday delivered, that means you are selecting the correct source field. Always check for the business object first and then for the field source. It should be Workday delivered. If it is Workday delivered, it will automatically pick up the correct answer for you. So just check for the correct source field. It should be Workday delivered. That's what I was just asking for, and I think Teresa answered it. I got a question here. So here in the real scenario, we are using tenant here and we can see the list of level of position or something like that. But if it is in real scenario, we'll be able to see all this list or no? Yes, we will be. If you have created it correctly, definitely if you have created the correct business object. See, location means the business object. So remember at the start we have created location, create location tasks. So automatically that will link with the location business object and will pop up here if you have created any location. Also you can try it in your tenant. Create a location and then try creating a compensation eligibility rules. Create a new location. I think you guys are having doubt like whether my business object will reflect here or not. I would suggest go ahead and create locations. Go ahead and create company. Go ahead and create cost center and then come here and create compensation eligibility rules. Select the source field here. If you want to select your company, select the company's source field. Provided the source field that you are selecting should be worked and delivered. Always remember it should be correct source field. If it is not the correct source field, you won't get your particular business object here under the comparison value. So now, what is the relation operator I'm going to select here? I'm going to select any in the selection list. Now here comes the picture. Here comes the topic. Why I have. Yesterday we have discussed the management level hierarchies. If you don't know who belongs to vice president and above, how we are going to put up the values here. Comparison values here. So here I'm going to select vice president, executive vice president, chief executive officers and board of directors. Someone has created this management level. I'm not going to select this. So this is where our knowledge comes into picture, where consultants comes into picture. Here I'm seeing only these many management levels. But in my tenant or in my client, I can see a number of management levels. So I have to identify which management level is correct over all the related actions. See here management type vice president over all this, chief executive officer. If someone has created it, it may happen that they have selected the wrong management type. What about senior vice president? There is no senior vice president. See, someone has created it with 9 number. So here comes our knowledge. We should know that our management level starts from individual to board of directors that we are dealing now. Unless your client comes up with a different management level. This is how you like what you said in the grading parameter, like management level. So how will it show that it was created by Workday or it was created by an individual? It will show that. No, it won't show it. You have to select the correct one. Because there was the last 3 dotted buttons are not that for grade. So is it something that will highlight that it was not given by Workday delivered or something like that? No, it's not like that. So you have to identify it. What we will do is, we will test it. The compensation will test it whether it's going to be picked up by. Now correctly for those employees under those conditions or not. If it is not, then definitely you have picked up the wrong source field or the wrong comparison value. Supervisory organization. Here I am going to select my supervisory organization. See Ankita Corporation, I have created in front of you I created only 2 super. So my Ankita Corporation is visible here. So now how my condition compensation eligibility rules look like. I have made it with and conditions. For what employees my eligibility rules will get picked up is the employee should be belong to USA. His or her management level should be vice president and above, and it should belong to Ankita Corporation. Then only this compensation eligibility rule will be satisfied. I have a question here. So in the first condition, if I want to use 2 locations, for example USA and Canada, then I should use E or in the second row. No, just enter 2 values here. Comparison value because it's all over the same, only that either USA or Canada. Employees should either belong to USA or Canada. Because Ankita, if you remember, you told us the relation operator is any. Yes, and means I'm talking about and relation operator will come into picture when we are talking about 2 conditions. Here the comparison value is either USA or Canada. Similar to this, the management level should either be vice president or executive vice president or CEO or board of directors. And or will come into picture when you're going to check for the conditions. 1, 2, 3. Value means this location value should be either USA or Canada. This management level value should either be either of these 4. Any. See here relation. What is the relation operator you have selected? Any in the selection list. This is a selection list. Got it now. So now my eligibility rule is done. See, this is how the moment I clicked on. My traditional rule is saved here in Workday. Clicking on means it's saved. On the ground, the chances of using or is very minimum. It depends upon your client requirement. Because if you're putting 3 or 4 ads and I get that there is only one, or I don't think so. What they can say is, for example, my client can come up and say that either should employee should belongs to Canada or USA and vice president and above. Or they can mention any employee that belongs to Ankita Corporation should pick up this eligibility rule. Should be eligible for this eligibility rule. So here we are. In that case, we are going to put or at the third line means or the employee should belong to a supervisory organization, Ankita Corporation. So the moment we have clicked on, our derived logic work does automatically mention its location any in the selection list Canada seat. It's written in verbal language as well. Any in the selection list Ankita Corporation. Here you can see that one more tab is there, rule usage. We have just not created it. We haven't used this particular rule till now, so that's why this rule usage is blank. Once we have used this rule somewhere in our compensation plan or package, then automatically that particular thing will get reflected here under our compensation rule. Now the next topic is going to be the compensation grades. Now basically I have already told you earlier as well. So grades define the standard compensation range for a given job or job level. You can define the number of segments between 3, 4 or 5 based on how you want it to be broken into. Grade ranges only serves as a guideline for the pay of the employee. You can enter an amount that is outside the pay range. Here what we are going to under compensation grade. I have told you we are going to define the range. For example, a manager should belong from 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs only. So here, under the compensation grades, we are going to define the grades, the salary ranges. Compensation grade means the salary ranges based on the job level. Although we give the pay range, but sometimes what happens is employer doesn't. Whenever we are negotiating with the employees, they will say that no, I am not going to work on 20 lakhs, but our pay range says that it's 20 lakhs. It should be between 10 to 20 lakhs. Somewhere between 10 to 20 lakhs, but based on the market experience of the employees, we cannot give the management level greater than manager. So in that case, we can give the compensation greater than the pay range. In that case, we can give the pay range greater, then it won't get error down. Whenever we are hiring the employee, for example, I'm going to hire Ankita as a manager, but she says that I'm not going to hire in between 10 to 20 and I don't want compensation between 10 to 20. But her experience is only 5 years. I cannot give her senior manager job profile. So what I will do is I will keep her job profile as manager only and I will give her compensation 22 lakhs. The system will allow me to save that particular compensation, but it will give me an alert. Whenever you are getting an error in Workday, you won't be able to save that particular item. But if you are getting an alert means the system is alerting you that boss, you are entering this something greater than or less than the pay range. So it will give us an alert, and when you are clicking on, it will allow you to save that particular compensation. So here comes that picture. Whenever we are working in an organization, sometimes they will give us 0% hike or they will say that this is the maximum thing that we can do. We can only give you 1% hike or 2% hike. They will try to. The organization knows that Ankita's pay range falls under 10 to 20. So they will try to negotiate or they will try to compensate on that particular thing by giving you less hike in your next performance cycle. So there comes the picture. They are just adjusting your salary based on the market value. How much work you will do. Sometimes you will get 1 or 2% hike on you. So that's what backend is maintained by the HR managers, or we can say that the managers in our system, because managers knows the system, they know that what's the range. Now compensation eligibility can be defined in two ways. I have already told you multiple times. Compensation grade can be tied directly to a job profile. This is Workday's recommended approach. Always remember to tie the grade to a job profile, edit the job profile, and then go to the compensation section to attach a grade to the job profile. Yesterday we have created some job profiles. Compensation grade in the job profile. Second way, how you are going to maintain eligibility rules is, this is not the recommended approach. See, it is mentioned by Workday also. This is not the recommended approach. But yes, this is only done when there is a unique business requirement that cannot be met by attaching the grade to the job profile. So till now, I haven't encountered in my experience. Based on my experience, I haven't encountered this kind of thing. But yes, if it is needed, you can create a separate eligibility rules and you can attach it in the compensation grade. So tomorrow, when we are going to create the compensation grade, I will show you where you can attach the eligibility rules or where you are going to update the compensation grade in the job profile. So tomorrow we are also going to discuss on the various fields when we are creating it. Step by step, we are going to like today, we have discussed for the fields related to the compensation eligibility rules. Tomorrow, we are going to cover the compensation grade fields as well. So just for a quick reference, we do have base pay elements, eligibility rules, referenced by the compensation package. Compensation grade profiles, we are going to create within the compensation grade itself. Remember compensation grade. Profile is the localization of the compensation grades. And then we are going to define the pay ranges under the compensation grade. So tomorrow we are going to cover the rest of the compensation structure elements. I have a question regarding compensation. So when you are working with compensation and then creating those rules and all, so you will also come to know, or any person who is working in compensation, they will also come to know what the salaries of all the employees like. See, whenever salary or they will be out or it's a security. No salary, see, compensation grade will only have the pay ranges. From this to this. Salary depends upon employee to employee. You will have different salary. I will have different salary on the same manager level. Two managers won't have the same salary. One can have 19 lakhs, other can have 18 lakhs. So salary will be defined or will be updated when you are hiring that particular employee. So always remember, salary will be taken care there itself. But here what we are defining is, we are creating the compensation grade. We are going to define their pay ranges. Which level they define, to which job profile they are. So that's why we are progressing step by step. We are creating all the basic elements before the hiring is done. For example, this is my Ankita eligibility rule that I have created. Now go to a related action of this compensation eligibility rule. So how you are going to check? Like I was telling you that you have to check whether the source field or the value that you have selected is correct or not. So how you are going to check it? Go to related actions of your compensation rule that you have created. Go to the compensation eligibility rules. There you can see one icon is there. Test it. Click on the test. It will automatically select because you are checking it for your eligibility rules. It will automatically take your eligibility rule. And then here you can see that instance to test. That means on which particular instance you want to test this eligibility rule. So automatically we are going to check this eligibility rule for my employee. So I am going to check it. For example, I haven't hired any employee now. So I will just simply try to select some random value. It's not giving any random value as well. So, just for your information, you can enter the instance to test. Once we hire the employee, we will get those employees here and then we can check our eligibility rules there. So for example, here I can just check for the eligible workers. View eligible workers, which all workers that are eligible for my compensation eligibility rule. There are no workers that are eligible. So once we hire the employee, then we can see here that this condition is satisfied whether my compensation eligibility rule work for them or not. So this is how you are going to check your compensation eligibility rules. Ankila, you also have edit. Yes, I can edit. I can edit my compensation eligibility rule at any time. In future, they can come up and say that I don't want this USA country to be there. I don't want this eligibility rule to be defined for this USA country. My thought process was you edit a compensation rule and you are not satisfied with that rule. So can you go back to the previous eligibility rule which was defined already, or you have to manually change it? Like a snapshot. You have to change it. If I think that that is not at all working fine or some condition needs to be edited, then I am going to change it. See here, all the fields are editable. Anything in compensation, anything in Workday, you can go back and change it. Just remember the task edit or open the particular thing, and if you have the edit access, you can directly go to the related actions and then edit it. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.